for your cast of the Why So Serious show on BladeRadioOnline.com.
It is Monday, and it is time for the Why So Serious show. I'm Jesse Morrison, joined alongside Mallory Schnell with special guests Matt Kling and Evan Osterwitz. And it is official. The Washington Redskins are no longer the Washington Redskins. Well, I mean, they're currently still the Washington Redskins, but they have announced that they are changing the name officially from a racial slur that is super antiquated and nobody uses anymore, to hopefully something that is much more progressive. However, in my opinion, I think that this is just Dan Snyder appealing to his sponsors and not Dan Snyder being a good person. So I did not see an apology from Dan Snyder today for his years of ignorance. What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, even though you don't want me to, I'm going to give Snyder a little bit of credit for finally getting it right. Like you said, I mean, this is long overdue. I don't disagree with them changing the name, obviously, but it is going to be really weird to see them take the field whenever that happens with a different name. I think they should take advantage of this opportunity to do a rebrand, though, because their current uniforms are just hideous.
What?
I would change the team colors too. If you're going to change the name and the logo, you might as well go with like a full rebrand. Let's be honest, they have the ugliest uniforms in football, probably the worst selling jerseys out of all 32 teams.
What?
Take advantage of this opportunity. It'll boost merchandise sales and maybe get them some new fans.
You're just saying this because you're a Cowboys.
Respectability, which is something
You're just saying this because you're a Cowboys fan. The burgundy and gold is a classic look. It is one of the best in the league, especially when they wear those burgundy tops, the gold bottoms. Everybody loves those uniforms, especially people in DC. So you are wrong on that one. You're just a Cowboys fan, and you hate anything and everything Washington football franchise.
Well, I mean, I do too because I'm an Eagles fan, Jesse. But you mentioned DC. I really think, besides pandering to FedEx, who was going to strip their name off the stadium, I really think that people in this franchise really want to move into the limits of Washington, D.C. And Muriel Bowser and lawmakers have said, we're not letting you in unless you change your name. And look, they're not going to move for several years. I mean, what they would have to do.
The lease is there for years with FedEx Field. It's I think it goes into the 2030s. I'm not 100% sure.
I thought it was like 2027, but
yeah,
whatever it is, I think they want to eventually get back into DC. And, the first step is, they have to get the land. And, a lot of people would think, hey, you used to play at RFK Stadium. If you can find a way to work with the government to get that land to fix RFK Stadium, like completely rebuild it, because that place is a dump, that would be their best option to get into DC.
Yeah, and I think that's the plan. I think the plan is hopefully to get that land back and then knock down RFK and build the new stadium there. But they should probably start on that in like 2022 if they're going to do that, because 2027, they want to build one of these big high-tech stadiums. And I hope they would build it with a retractable roof so they can have a Super Bowl there. I think it would be awesome to have a Super Bowl in Washington, D.C. I mean, it's the most popular sport in America. I think that would just be super cool.
The downside to the Super Bowl in D.C. is Congress, the president. It's going to be a security nightmare.
True.
So I would see that not as a reason to get, a Super Bowl. But, you look at Nationals Park. Nationals Park is a really nice ballpark. I hate to admit it. It's a modern ballpark.
Okay.
And that's really what they'll need eventually is a modern place to play in the city limits of Washington, D.C. Yes, this move was brought on by pressure of, this current movement of change. Understandable. And Dan Snyder, should have done this years ago and should have acknowledged this years ago. He even said he was never going to change the name, and now they are. But it's a good step in the right direction, and we'll see where this leads this franchise.
I'm curious as to what they're what direction they're gonna go in with the new name. I remember Rivera saying something about honoring the military. So like I was thinking maybe Generals, but I don't think you can do that because that was the team that the Globetrotters used to beat up on
They
or
still
whatever.
do.
All the like capital patriotic names are already taken, like Capitals, Nationals, that's all taken. So I don't know where they're gonna go with this, but it should be very interesting.
Okay, so as the resident Washington racial slurs fan, um, the names that people have been talking about are people like Pigskins a lot, because it's a football.
Oh
It's
man.
football. It's still you can still keep the fight song the same. Colors would work. Everything would kind of stay the same. So that's one that I like, and that's one that I've heard some people say. People like the Hogs because the Hogs was an iconic Redskins offensive line in the 80s. So people like that. Red Wolves, which I don't like, is catching on. People like the term "Howl to the Red Wolves." I'm not feeling that. I think if they're going to go with a DC specific name, I think Lawmakers would be good because, they're making the law. They're a football team making the law. So I think that would be cool. And then Red Tails is a cool one after the, Tuskegee Airmen that had the Red Tails on their plane that fought for the country. So that's a good one.
I thought of the name Responders because, you look at first responders like firefighters, police officers, EMTs, but also doctors, people that work in hospitals, but also members of Congress and the president are responders to the country. So I think that could be an appropriate name.
The names you listed, Jesse, I think Red Tails is probably the best one. The first three were just laughably bad, but it checks all the boxes. It's similar to the old name. It's a reference to the military. And if I remember correctly, the Tuskegee Airmen were black, right? So it's racially sensitive, and it honors a group of people that doesn't get a lot of recognition historically. So that's a winner for me. Pigskin, just like you can't name a team that unless.
What are footballs made out of, though?
I mean, yeah, but no, that is the team name.
Mallory, put it on the poll. Mallory, put it on the poll. Is Pigskins a bad new name for the Redskins?
No one will take that team seriously. They would be a laughing stock, like maybe even more than they already are.
Max likes it.
Well, he's not here to defend that opinion. So yeah, we're gonna move on from that one.
The DC Defenders were a really nice name for the XFL team that lasted about a month and a half. So
change to that.
If the XFL doesn't come back for next season, then definitely go with Defenders.
The DC United.
Wayne Rooney.
Not on the team anymore. He went back to England. He went to the championship in England because
their game did get canceled yesterday, though.
What's up?
Their game did get canceled yesterday, though, against Toronto.
They
They
played
replayed it today, but
to draw.
I think it's funny they're already canceling games in that tournament, and two teams have already dropped out less than a week in.
Yeah, what are we doing tonight is on the MLS's back tournament.
Okay, I won't dive too deep into that then, Klinger, but yeah, it's been interesting so far.
Yeah.
I just have an issue with the production, but we'll get to that.
We'll save it for that segment. But
speaking of bubbles, though, the NBA bubble, I think all the teams are there. Only two people have tested positive for the coronavirus, and one of those is our guy Russell Westbrook.
Well, he didn't even go, so that's.
Yeah, he didn't even go, so positive there. But the funniest thing that came out of the bubble this weekend was Anna, a self-described gamer. Anna Maya. She's an Instagram model. She tweeted that I already got invited to the bubble. The season definitely ending early. So NBA players, there's an underlying reputation of them sliding into DMs all the time. Devin Booker. And so so this could be a disaster just due to the dudes sliding into Instagram models' DMs.
Florida gonna Florida. Am I right?
I mean, yeah, and NBA player.
Yeah, the Instagram DMs complications are a real possibility, but there have been other reasons to wonder if this bubble thing is going to work. There was a story that broke earlier today, which again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on because that is my what are we doing this week. But yeah, it may have already been compromised because some guy decided to go out and be an idiot. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Rashawn Holmes?
Yeah, I am talking about that.
Pickup
Well,
fan.
it was kind
We'll
of Kelly
get-
Jr.'s fault. He told everyone to.
We'll get more on that later. We'll talk more about that later. But yeah,
Mallory, what are
that's
your
right.
thoughts on NBA players and Instagram models? And will it be a problem for the Miami Heat?
Well, the one person I would worry about from the Miami Heat already has secured his Instagram model, so we don't have to worry about several of them, just one of them. You know, Tyler Hero's girl. But I've saved a compilation of tweets from at NBA Bubble Life, a must follow. We've got Myers Leonard with the Mickey Mouse waffles.
Love it.
We got Tobias Harris and Boban were reunited. They went fishing together. We had Dion Waiters excited to be back in the league.
Oh no.
What else do we got? Hassan Whiteside has found the Mickey Mouse filter. Very excited about that.
Hold up, you're missing out the best part of this whole thing, and that's.
Are you talking about Ben Simmons fishing?
No, I'm talking about her boy Myers Leonard shotgunning a beer.
JJ
Well-
Redick did that too in a cold tub.
Yeah.
Yes, they were challenged by NBA Bubble Life to do it, and I must say Myers did it in literally 1.5 seconds. It was pretty impressive.
Reddick did a little bit more, but
No, the fans voted that Myers was better.
yeah.
He's currently the shotgun champion in the NBA bubble.
I mean,
Yeah, but JJ Redick is a much better player, so he can win on the court.
Who's the better person?
JJ Redick, I've met him. I'm sure
Myers
actually
Leonard. I've met
they're both okay.
there's not a better human being in the NBA than Myers Leonard.
That's probably debatable, but I
Let's
mean,
do a Twitter poll on that. Is Myers Leonard the best guy in the NBA?
yeah, put that on the poll.
If I tag him, he's probably gonna respond to it.
Do
I'll
it.
tag-
do it. And
Also,
NBA Bubble Life too.
are we supposed to have him on the show soon, Mallory? What we've only got one more week before they start playing, so we need to get him on the show.
Right now he's currently. Well, let me check. Yeah, right now he's still streaming Warzone. He's been playing that a lot.
Yeah, I questioned if the dude actually works on his basketball game because
He
he's
does.
always
I swear.
streaming Twitch.
Also,
also-
popular drink of choice now appears to be cherry bubbly. So bubbly, the sparkling water.
Yeah. Also, we need to talk about Ben Simmons though. It's catch and release fishing, I guess, and poor fish. He gave it a concussion. Did everybody see that video?
Which video?
So Ben Simmons was fishing and he reeled in a fish, and it's catch and release fish. So they don't kill the fish, they just catch it, and he threw it back in the water, but it missed the water and hit a rock before skipping into the water. So he traumatized that poor fish probably for life. That fish probably has permanent brain damage.
I've
Mallory,
been seeing a lot of fish pictures. It's like middle school in Florida all over again. Everyone posting their fish pictures.
It's kind of sad, honestly.
Mallory, put it on the poll. Does Ben Simmons' fish have permanent brain damage?
I think in terms of transparency, we need to know. I don't care about the fish. I want to know about the women that are going to be sneaking into this bubble. I just think that they should be allowed if they're NBA players are just going to do that, and so just test them and just say whatever. And if they don't have, I'm serious. Here's the
you're
thing:
not
the
gonna
women
control that.
might not bring coronavirus into the bubble, but they might bring other stuff into the bubble, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there is that too.
Other public health crises of the past.
Or also just maybe there's drama because two players DM the same girl, and then she comes in and
Okay, but that's what I want to see. I want to see the drama about this
That's
too.
what the NBA is all about.
I mean, the NBA is a
NBA is all
drama.
about drama.
Nathan.
yeah, like when the Warriors were really good, it was really only like the drama that was the interesting part about the NBA, because we knew what was going to happen at the end of the season if everybody remained healthy, which they did until this past year.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Did everyone watch?
Two guys like duke it out on the practice court because they were texting the same girl. Nah, this NBA bubble life account is like the greatest thing that's ever been invented.
I
Like,
need to follow it. I think I've seen it. I just haven't followed it yet. So I'm gonna drop that.
I have a feeling this is just getting started. I have a feeling there's a lot more content on the way in the coming days.
Excited about this.
I'm just excited for Jamal Crawford. Wait, that was Legion Hoops that I followed. I'll find it later. But did y'all watch the UFC 251 from the Fight Island? It went smoothly. I have a take on this, but I think everyone else should go. I don't know. Mallory probably didn't watch it, but Matt and Evan, I know you all did.
I watched the Masvidal fight. I was bored, but shout out Masvidal for losing 20 pounds in like 2 days. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I actually watched the entire card, prelims and everything, and I gotta say, I was entertained basically the whole way through. There was a couple of fights that were like a little slow at the beginning, but every fight had like a signature moment. Like I remember it was one of the undercards. I don't remember the guy's name. He was a Kazakh guy against a Brazilian guy, and it was the like hardest nut shot I've ever seen in UFC. And before that happened, there were like no punches thrown. It was like best of three, or like three round fight. Sorry, I can't talk. And like first 2 rounds, nothing happens. And then halfway through the third, the dude gets drilled, toe kicked in the groin. It was like so hard to watch, but like so like entertaining at the same time.
Wait, are you talking about that one fight with the guy that like kept, doing groin shots over and over again, and they kept having to call the fight so the guy could regain? You know what I'm talking about? Is that the fight that you're talking about?
It was the one before that, because it was like super boring until that happened. I did leave for a little bit to go play beach volleyball, but I did hear there were a lot of groin shots in the early fights. I think you're talking about the one after. But yeah, no, there was excitement the whole way through. The Ozdemir against Prochazka fight was probably my favorite. Ozdemir did not know where he was at the end of that fight. I mean, like, talk about like a rough way to go out. I mean, like, Prochazka, I didn't know who he was before. It was his first fight in UFC, I'm pretty sure. That's how you make your debut, man. Like, watch out for that guy. And then Jose Aldo had a tough night too.
You should have called that fight earlier.
He's a legend. Yeah, he was on the ground for like 3 minutes just getting pummeled by Jan. But yeah, rough night for him. He's still a legend, but that was a tough look. And yeah, Volko, I think that one was a little controversial, like probably the most controversial one of the night. I don't know. I could see why they gave it to Volkanovski, but at the same time, I think Holloway definitely won the first 2 rounds. You could argue the third too. Volko came on really strong later in the fight and ended up getting the decision, but I don't know. I would have given the nod to Max, but I'm not a judge. Like, I'm not a boxing expert.
But actually, I think I liked the decision on that one. I got another hot take. I actually really enjoyed the final fight, Masvidal and Usman. I enjoyed the strategy. Like, I enjoyed the fact that Usman knew who he was fighting and knew that if he didn't just, tie up Masvidal and stomp on his feet for the entire time, then like he would lose. So I enjoyed the strategy of it. Everybody on Twitter is just ripping the fight, but I disagreed. I was entertained. I was happy. I'm just happy to see sports. Like, any sports that are on, I'm happy to see. So I enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, no, the toe stomps from Usman were on point. I really enjoyed that. It seems like a very bizarre strategy, but it worked. I mean, the last 4 rounds, 2nd through 5th round, was all his. Like, he's a wrestler. Like, everyone knows that. The first round got a little cocky. staying a little too much upright, throwing a little too many punches. But after that, like, it was all his. I appreciate him fighting out of Dallas too. As far as I know, he doesn't train here and has never been here, but he was fighting out of Dallas and he got the win. So for that, I am very grateful.
I also don't think that whole toe stomp thing should be legal. Like, it doesn't seem like a legal move. It doesn't really
do anything though. Like,
Yeah,
what does that do? It tires you out, if anything. Like,
I
he's
don't know.
not
It just,
doing any
it
damage
hurts.
to
You
Masvidal by
ever
doing
gotten stepped
that.
on the foot?
Yeah, but like, what does that do? Like, maybe it discourages him from kicking, but that's not really Jorge's thing anyway. And like,
I don't know. It just seems like it just doesn't seem like an MMA move to me.
exactly. That's why it's
like,
so funny though. Like,
yeah.
it's completely useless. It looks ridiculous, but it's quality entertainment. And Klinger mentioned earlier, Masvidal took this fight on like 6 days notice or whatever. He's a champ for making it all the way through. Like,
yeah, true.
He's gonna get another fight here soon. So he really had nothing to lose. He gets the check, puts on a good show, and that's it. I don't have any qualms with that fight. But Usman definitely won fair and square.
All right, boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. So yesterday, NASCAR at Kentucky was the best race of the year.
No, Talladega was better.
Yeah, maybe, but I just like the fact that we finally didn't have, Harvick and Hamlin or one of the, Bush brothers or whatever. Like,
I've won a race this year. Let's
yeah, but
halfway through, and that's pretty damn incredible.
Yeah, they normally each have a couple wins by this point. But I mean that move by Cole Custer there at the end was incredible. And I'm happy that I'm just happy that a rookie got a good big win on the final lap, and it was exciting. And
so that's
what'd you say?
He clinched a spot for the playoffs.
And the All-Star race on Wednesday.
Yeah, the All-Star race, which will have like 25,000 fans in attendance. Granted, Bristol's huge, so they can be as spread out as possible.
Yeah. Did you see the IndyCar race? There were so many fans so close together. I don't know what IndyCar is doing there. They're going to have like 50% of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway filled for the Indy 500 in a couple of weeks, and that scares the living crap out of me.
I'm not sure about that. There was
100,000 people, dude. You can't socially distance them.
I had a USL match on yesterday, and it was in Louisville, and they had about 3,500 fans in attendance, and they seem to be distant around the stadium, except like on the end lines. So I didn't think it was, that bad to see. I'd like to think of it as like a new normal, as Jesse is getting delivery right now, as usual.
I didn't catch that. But yeah, that 25,000 fan race is definitely going to be interesting. Like,
And
what?
It's not a big race, too. It's an all-star race. So,
yeah, I'm not sure what the capacity of that track is.
Oh, it's 110,000.
So you can have like one person every 4 seats or so.
Yeah. Oh, that place.
I still don't know about that, man. Like, not to like rip on NASCAR fans or anything, but they don't have the reputation as being the most hygienic people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's probably not true, but that's the perception, right? So I don't know. I feel like that could have some bad consequences. And I'm sure Jesse's going to get really mad at me for saying that, but I could definitely see that being a mistake.
I mean, I don't think there should be fans at sporting events right now. Like, that's
okay. Well, there you go. We're in agreement.
I think that there should be sporting events right now because I think that sports, are healing. But I also think that they can do it without having fans, and I think that there needs to be a bubble for everything except for NASCAR, golf, tennis. The ones that are basically already bubbles once they get there. Or just golf is super socially distant as a sport in general. You don't need to be. It's basically you and your caddy, and if you guys are kind of quarantining together, then
and the
no big deal.
you're playing with in the group. By the way,
Yeah.
the greatest
Still be
sporting
hard.
event of the year took place this weekend. The celebrity golf tournament at Top, and Marty Fish won, the former tennis player. But the second place finisher was Kyle Bleeping Williams, the former Buffalo Bill. Yeah, all 300 some pounds of him, and Steph Curry was third.
Yeah, what like poor Steph Curry, like he just got back to playing when the NBA shut down, and then now he's just out there playing golf and not in the bubble because his teammates were hurt. Otherwise, they would, have 50 wins right now or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for him. He had one losing season after winning 3 rings and almost winning a 4th and winning 2 MVPs and setting a whole bunch of records and just being Steph Curry. I feel so terrible for him, Jesse.
Yeah.
Do you know how long I waited for playoff basketball living in Dallas? Half a decade, man. I don't feel bad for Steph Curry at all. He's at a celebrity golf tournament, man. He's just living the dream right now. Like, what does he care if he doesn't get in this bubble thing, which is probably going to end in a disaster anyway?
Hey. By the way, Charles Barkley did not finish in last place in this tournament, which I was surprised by.
I thought he was in the bubble.
No, Eddie George finished in last in the tournament. It was, yeah.
Did he strike the Heisman pose at the end?
Probably not. But, like, the tournament literally is, I say it's one of the greatest things in America because you have this hosh-posh of, like, current good NFL players. Like, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce were there. And Travis Kelce gave Patrick Mahomes a wet willy on live TV.
Love to see it.
I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers playing. You have, Steph Curry, his father, Del Curry. But then you have Kevin from The Office, Brian playing. Yeah. So it's a fun tournament to watch. And Tony Romo won the past couple of years, was having a good first round, decent second round, but hurt his wrist and had to withdraw. So
I've seen that movie before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened a lot during his playing career.
Oh yeah, like every other year.
Not the wrist, but something always goes wrong.
Collarbone.
I love Tony, but like the man is made of glass.
Dak's better. Mallory, Evan, training camp for the NHL started today. Let's do that hockey.
Well, teams announced their training camp rosters today, and like teams have been training for a while. It's just today it's like officially official. It's been optional up until this point. And there were some more positive tests today again. Like, I'm not panicking there. They're not in the bubble yet. They've still got a couple weeks before they head to the hub cities. So nothing too major there. But one thing that did happen is that players are starting to opt out. Like, they're going public with it. So far, it's not any big names. I think Travis Hamonic is probably the best player who said that he's not participating. Like, I still think that the integrity of what the NHL is trying to do is like has been preserved so far. Like, the tournament can still definitely happen without like him, Mike Green, like Carl Alsner. Like, yeah, he's getting paid a bunch of money, but I think the Canadians are going to be fine without him.
A couple former Caps.
Yeah, and one of the worst free agent signings of my lifetime.
Which
So
one?
yeah, like as long as no like insane outbreak happens, and as long as all the like star players decide they want to participate in the tournament, which they will, like it's a chance to win a Stanley Cup, as long as you don't have family members who are at high risk, and as long as you're not at high risk, I don't see that many more people dropping out. So yeah, it's business as usual.
I think I saw something that the Penguins had like 9 positive tests or something, so they had to shut down their facility. So that was interesting. But I was paying attention mostly to the Panthers today. They were announcing, their training camp rosters and the lines and stuff. The Carolina Hurricanes posted a mic'd up with Vincent Trocheck, which was really awesome to see. I guess they just knew he was the one to mic up, even though he's barely played for them. But they're putting him as the third line center, which, I think he deserves better than that, but he'll just have to prove himself, It is what it is.
Yeah, and another thing I've noticed is that when teams announce their training camp rosters, they would have like a little like sidebar of players who were like unfit to play. Like, who do you think you're fooling, NHL? We know what's going on here. Like, it's pretty clear that they're out because they tested positive. But like after the Austin Matthews thing that happened, like everyone's afraid to say it, like they don't want to go public with the identities. But like we know what's going on. Training camp just started. Like they're not injured. We know,
Or they got a
what's
sprained
going on.
ankle.
Well, and by
Doing what?
the laws,
Like,
you can't
they've been
necessarily
skating a little bit. They've probably been
along.
skating a little bit. They've been working out, but we know what's going on. Just say it. Just say this guy tested positive. Every other league's been doing that. Just because.
Slept wrong.
One more time.
Slept wrong. Like, could be a whole bunch of things.
What?
Definitely not the virus, right?
I get they want to protect the guy's privacy, but they're doing a really bad job of hiding it. Like if they're out of practice, just like either don't say anything or tell us why. Like saying they're unfit to play at a time like this, like you're not doing a great job hiding it, NHL.
But this is a league where players would play with broken legs and stuff. Like that's like, yeah, exactly. Like.
Well, there's a really common tendency in hockey to want to keep things behind closed doors, and I get that. But they're not doing that, is my thing. Like, if you don't want us to know this guy tested positive or whatever, then don't report it. Don't give that information to the media.
Yeah.
But if you say they're unfit to play on the first day of training camp, we know why. We know why.
It's possible.
All right.
Wait, one more thing. So the window to sign international free agents just closed, and I have a bone to pick with this because one of these guys is Montreal property. He did sign within the window, so he's going to be with the team during the tournament, but he can't play is the thing. So he's losing a year off his entry-level contract. He can practice with the team. He's going to be in the bubble, but he can't play because he was playing in Russia during the regular season, which I think is like a really stupid rule. Last year, Vegas signed Gusev, brought him over from Russia, and he was eligible to play in the playoffs. But I guess this time around, because we're doing like hub cities and we've had a 3-month pause, it's different. But like this kind of thing has happened before. You're allowed to call up guys from the minors before the playoffs. You're allowed to sign college guys before the playoffs start. Why not international guys? I'm not saying that having Alexander Romanov on the team would like help us win a series, because we're not going to. Canadians are not going to beat Pittsburgh regardless. But I think it is kind of a stupid rule the NHL has put in place for these guys to where they can sign with the team, practice with the team. They lose a year off their entry-level deal, but they're not allowed to play.
All right, bonus, what are we doing?
They're not going to comment on that at all, okay?
I just said bonus, what are we doing? I mean, it's our next segment, so might as well just go into your second one.
I mean, we already kind of teased this earlier in the show, but yeah, this has to do with the NBA bubble, and it's not anything to do with guys DMing girls on Instagram. It's a guy who decided to go across the street to get some Postmates food, and then got called out by his mom on Twitter. So it's a double whammy for our boy Rashawn Holmes, who was on the Suns last year, played pretty well for Sacramento this year, but he's going to have to go back into quarantine for 10 days because he just couldn't get enough of that delivery food. The food in the bubble is pretty bad. I mean, we've seen pictures of it. It doesn't look great. Even those Mickey Mouse waffles that Mallory showed us earlier look pretty disgusting.
Aww.
I can see why Rashawn was tempted, but to put your team in a spot like that to where you might not be available to play the first couple games, and then to get called out by your own mom on Twitter is kind of a sad look for him. Next time he better make sure it's just his mom.
That's the punishment for breaking quarantine, to go literally across the street to pick up an order. Like, come on, NBA. That's the water we do.
But how hard is it to follow the rules, man? Like, they told you don't leave the bubble under any circumstances, and he goes out like literally 3 or 4 days after they get there to get some Postmates food. And like, the Kings already aren't looking like a real contender, but without a guy who averages 13 points a game for you, it becomes a whole lot tougher. So he clearly wasn't really thinking when he went out and did this. He should be out of quarantine in time for the games, but even still, it's a tough look.
Mallory, put it on the poll. Should Rashawn Holmes be more disappointed about disappointing his teammates, or should Rashawn Holmes feel more guilty for disappointing his teammates or his mom?
Another thing about Rashawn is he should probably use that 10 days to get a new haircut or think about getting a new haircut because his current one is just atrocious. I don't know.
Does he have the who is that guy? Alfred Payton?
It's not as bad as that, but it looks ridiculous. Like,
which one are you talking about? Because the ponytail dreads look with the fade on the side, I like that. But the ones where he's got the headband on, I don't know about that one.
It's like that whole like where like all the dreads are like jumbled up into a ball on the back of his head, and it makes it look like he's balding, but he has like a horn sticking out the back of his head. It's just a bad look, man. Like,
he's been in quarantine.
But he was rocking that for the Suns last year too, and it looked bad then. So
I miss Suns.
Can't use that as an excuse.
I miss some of the Suns. People wanted him over Ayton last year. Mallory, what are we doing?
My what are we doing is J.R. Smith, because he just got signed by the Lakers and he's already complaining. Like, he was on Instagram Live for like hours, and the NBA had to literally text him to get off because he was just like bashing everything about the hotel, about the food. He was just like exposing everything, like, oh yeah, this person's across the room from me, I'm right by the stairs, like planning an exit, like an escape plan, like on Instagram Live. And like, this man had like so much time off. It was really funny. Tristan Thompson joined the live and was like, he was like, you got to stay ready. And he's like, I've been ready, but I don't want to be here. Like, I don't understand. Like, J.R. Smith, like, what are you doing? Like,
J.R. Smith, we love J.R. Smith.
The what are we doing face, of course, being LeBron telling him what are you doing in the 2018 finals.
I didn't know about this, actually. I'm so glad you told me because that's hilarious. That would have definitely been my what are we doing if I had known. Like, when has anyone ever had to like stop doing a live stream because the league got involved? Like, his live stream was so bad, like so inappropriate, that the NBA had to get involved and tell him to stop streaming. But
he literally said you could see him get the text, and he was like, they're telling me to get off. I gotta go.
Yeah, like, when has that ever happened? But again, like, if you had to pick one NBA player to get their Instagram Live taken down by the league, it would be JR. Like, there's no
or
other.
Deion Waiters, and the fact that they're on the same team is just gold.
Yeah, it's a recipe for success.
Yes.
Or like DeMarcus Cousins or JaVale McGee or any of those former Wizards from back in the day.
I would definitely pick JR over any of those guys. Like,
I mean, true.
Deion Waiters is known to be kind of a character, and he's known to like edibles a little too much, but I don't think he would do anything like that. That's a JR trademark right there. But anyway.
Matt, what are we doing? We want to talk about the MLS is back.
Yes. My what are we doing is in the same complex. It's this MLS is back tournament. It's on TV right now. It is currently 11:48 at night in Orlando, where they're playing this game. There is no fans, but about 100 sponsorship logos around the field on green screens. Literally, there's Target, Body Armor, Audi, Pringles, AT&T, Southern New Hampshire University, JLab Audio, Dignity Health, Echo, Coca-Cola. I'm just reading these off my screen right now.
Now they're sponsors of our show.
Yeah, Continental, Heineken, Honey Bunches of Oats, Captain Morgan, Target, Allstate, Alaska Airlines. Like, Like literally, the production value of this tournament is so weird. They're on the smallest of fields. There's no fans, obviously, so they put up these big walls with that's literally a chroma key, and you can see all these sponsors on hand. But the difference is how you watch. Fox and FS1 are pumping crowd noise in, and honestly, I like it.
I hate that. Natural sounds.
But I'm also a fan of the natural sound as well. I like how both the networks are variabling this. My bone to pick with the tournament is why it's in Orlando. Because you know the reason why they're playing games at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, and 10:30 p.m. Eastern is because of how crazy hot and humid and thunderstorm likely the weather is in this tournament. Like, I get it. You have the hotel space and you have the space to play in Orlando. But could you really have just picked another city? Maybe like Atlanta, where they could play in the football stadium where there's a dome, or somewhere in Texas, somewhere in California.
Texas is just as hot as Florida, dude. It's just as humid enough. Also, looking at, they need 2 fields, and I don't know why I did 4. I did the Ringo Starr peace signs, happy 80th birthday. I think it was this past week, which is so weird. But I think,
could be doing
honestly,
in the actual stadium that the Orlando City team plays in. There's more space. You don't have to have, like, these fields are so narrow in terms of space. It's very weird for television.
I just hate the camera angle. The camera's not far enough back.
That's my complaint is it's so far enough back. And of course they have to show this damn chroma key wall with all the sponsors that is just an eyesore. And it really takes your eyes off the match because all you see are the sponsors. So
I gotta say though, the soccer so far has been pretty good. There have been some very entertaining games, like the Orlando City Miami game
that was a good game
where Nani scored the winner in stoppage time. I had no idea he was in MLS. I think he's way too good to be playing over here, but that was a nice goal. That was a great game.
He's playing for the LA Galaxy right now as we speak.
Did y'all see that Sporting KC game? It was the best game of the tournament.
Where
but
the
like,
Minnesota scored?
Where the goalie got red carded? The one where they played Minnesota? Yeah,
it was the best game of the tournament, but at the same time, like, it was some sloppy soccer, which I guess is just how MLS works, but like, I don't know. I watched a little bit of Phoenix game, like, after they scored. USL is back. They're playing in their home stadiums. I can't believe they held a soccer match in the world's worst place for coronavirus.
But you missed me saying that same league had like 3,500 fans in a stadium in Louisville on Sunday. So
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I mean, USL, what are you doing? But like at the same time, MLS, what are you doing? No one really likes soccer in this country anyway, except the women.
Yeah, tell him, Matt.
Also, WSL is kicking butt, but no one can watch it because you have to pay for CBS All Access. So NWSL/CBS, what are you doing with that?
Also, honorary, what are you doing to Jeremy Schnell, who was a no-show tonight? Get back on the show, bud. We need you here.
He's at a national park. He's getting physical activity. Let's be nice.
He is butthurt because the Seattle Sounders didn't score.
That game was so bad.
We'll go with that. I'm doing it because I love Jeremy. It's no hard feelings. We just need him on the show. That's all.
All right. I gotta scroll through my Twitter real quick. I can't read all of these, but everybody from the East Coast was complaining that the UFC fight was on at 1 a.m. Let's just talk about this real quick because
they're halfway across the world. So, yes.
We're not going to ask UFC fighters to fight at 3 a.m. just so you can watch it at 10 p.m. Stay up late. Don't complain about it. You have sports back. Can we please not complain about sports coming back at all? Like, seriously. And so I decided to just troll everyone on Twitter that was doing this. So I just just looked up 1 a.m. Eastern time or whatever, and then just went through all these people and was just like, it's like 10 a.m. over there, and or like just appreciate sports. And I commented on some podcast that was tweeting about it with 1 follower, and this dude just ripped me, and he goes on to my my Twitter and starts commenting on my posts that were just like ridiculous, like goofy posts. He said, "You're a noob, shut up. The fans are watching on TV, you moron. Keep your mouth shut when it comes to fighting, or I'll be happy to shut it for you." I really want to just say you got 1 follower.
Hold on,
to
but,
my
I'm about to make it
412.
I'm about to follow this kid.
but then
This
hold on,
kid's got a future, man.
there's still 1 follower, but
This is the next Joe Rogan.
but then the next
100%.
tweet you got him good.
Yeah. And then okay, I said, because there was one fight where I just like thought like, this looks like a fight where they could RKO someone, which, you know, probably illegal in UFC, but it was totally a joke. And I said, would it be against the rules to RKO in a UFC fight? And he comments, "Idiot, you obviously don't know blank." And I commented with the Levitard show, "You don't get the show" thing. And he just says, "Yeah, bro." What are we doing, dude? Just go enjoy the fight and shut up.
It has to be a burner account. That's all I gotta say.
It's apparently a podcast account. 2 dudes talking.
1 follower, really? It's a burner account. Come
Yeah,
on.
I should have said 414 to 1, dude. Or something like that. All right, well, we have 1 more segment remaining. And this is movies with Matt. He saw some relatively dated movies. But we,
No,
but we're-
one's not that dated, but go ahead.
yeah, all right. Well,
Play the
hold
intro.
on. It did not download for some reason, so we're just gonna
Yeah,
stall.
the
for a
Fighting
second
Green
here.
Alaska Airlines scored, by the way. They the Portland Timbers scored an Audi goal.
Travis would rather have AAA baseball than the Portland Timbers, by the way.
Oh, damn right.
I would rather have a major professional soccer team than a minor professional baseball team. Just in
I'm
my
with Jesse on this one. I think soccer gets way too much disrespect in the States.
Like,
Like,
Oh, I think it's a pretty boring sport, but again, I would rather have a major professional team where, you know, like David Beckham or somebody like that could come through than, you know, AAA baseball where you're playing the Salt Lake City Bees. Like, nah, I'm good.
I thought soccer was boring too until quarantine happened and I started watching, and every game I watched, something hype would happen. Like when the Premier League came back on, the first game I watched was that 3-0 drubbing that Arsenal took to Man
Oh,
City.
yeah, I watched that game.
There was a red card, a dude got laid out by his own goalie, penalty shot goal, and it was 3-0. So there was plenty of scoring going on. And every game I've watched, there's been something entertaining happen. Like you mentioned the Sporting KC Minnesota game yesterday. The goalie got ejected. Like, when does that happen? I don't know. I think I'm becoming a soccer fan, guys.
The bad
Wow.
that MLS gets is that it's too Americanized. The fact that they
And
don't-
it's a retirement league.
like
That
it's
part is true.
It's
That part is
Americanized in the
definitely
fact that they have it to have divisions, a playoff system where the other leagues around the world don't. I mean, they're doing these hydration breaks during the game, which is smart, but they're getting the coaches to talk to the commentators during the hydration or right at the end of the hydration breaks. So like something that, you know, NBA coaches do, hockey coaches do, you know, stuff like that. But it's just weird timing for, you know, that to happen.
See, I like that though, because no other soccer league does that. So that's like a bargaining chip that MLS has over all these other leagues. They don't have the skill yet. They may not have the worldwide recognition yet, but they do have these gimmicks, and I think that's important. But
they have America, which is important
right.
for us here in America.
That is always a good thing. That is always a plus.
And 3 Canadian teams.
Yes, Montreal Impact lost their first game. I was really upset. Thierry Henry lost his coaching debut.
Be fast.
It's almost like the coach wasn't the problem, but that's a story for another day.
Words in the English language were harmful. A good job would always have passed.
Here, movies with
Matt.
Hi, guys.
Aye.
All right. So it was 113 degrees on Saturday here in Vegas. I think it was 111 yesterday. Might have been 110 today. I don't know. It's been really hot here. Jesse, you know it's really hot in Phoenix right now. Yeah. So it's the perfect time, perfect opportunity to watch. Where are you going, Jesse? Jesse.
He's getting his popcorn. Don't worry about him.
I'm waiting till Jesse.
I'm getting ready for got some keto chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Ew. All right. Well, it's hot out, so perfect timing to watch Frozen.
Wow.
A week after seeing Hamilton, I must say I will not be able to see anything as great as Hamilton was for a while, but I was able to catch Frozen. You know, the animated movie from 2013 that Walt Disney made. Now
You don't play
before,
Olaf?
yeah. So now before he was the da 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 spitting King George, Jonathan Groff was voicing an Iceman named Kristoff in this animated blockbuster. And while his character in Hamilton was essentially a sideshow to the plot, Groff's character in Frozen was actually important. Now, going into seeing Frozen for the first time, I knew all the words to Let It Go. I mean, who doesn't know all the words to Let It Go? It's a great song. You know,
No,
the song,
wickedly talented.
Adele Dazeem.
yeah. The song that's the turning point in the film, where Idina Menzel's Queen Elsa embraces her uniqueness of having magical ice powers. It's a number that anyone could take to heart to understand that their uniqueness should be taken as their advantage, or in the words of the song, let it go, turn away and slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on because the cold never bothered me anyway. But what I did not know about the film going into this was that Elsa is not the central character in the story. Surprise, surprise. Yes,
Whoa.
she's probably the most important and influential character in the story, but the story is truly centered around her sister, Anna. Yet, in my 2 brief stints working at Toys R Us, rest in peace, Toys R Us,
It's back. What are you talking about?
it's dead.
It's back. They brought it back.
The merchandise that was being sold at the time, this was in 2015, 2017, I felt was centered around Elsa. Now also, the year after the film was released, a bunch of babies were born and their mothers named them Elsa. While I could continue and say that this is weird, I will say this is quote unquote cool that someone who is not the central character in the story is the most influential character in the story, just like Aaron Burr was in Hamilton. Now, I didn't just watch Frozen this weekend. You know what else I watched? Frozen 2.
Wow.
It's the shorter story. Sequels are hit or miss. Some may be better than the original. Some may be significantly worse. Some may save course. That's what Frozen 2 did. Came out 6 years after the original, and trying to explain the storyline of this one is a lot harder to do than in the first. Side note, there's a great scene in this film where Olaf, the greatest supporting character in Disney history, summarized the first film in about a minute and a half. It was great. But like another sequel I recently saw and liked, Creed 2, I happened to cry toward the end, which I did not do in the first film. Anyway, both films are good watches, so if you haven't gotten a chance, sometime soon is a good opportunity because it's still summertime. It's hot as hell out. Why not take a trip to the Ice Palace? And the Fighting Alaska Airlines people scored a goal again. This one's better than the first one. 2-0 Portland. And that's why we did that.
Back to the Frozen thing. You mentioned all the babies that are being named Elsa. I wonder how many are being named Kristoff and Olaf. I hope we've got an entire generation of Olafs on the way because that would just be so funny to me.
I think
Mallory, put it on the poll. Do you want an entire generation of Olafs?
I say
An
so.
entire generation of kids named Olaf.
Yes.
We need to make it like more clear.
For sure.
I'm here for it, though. I'm here for it.
Did anyone else have you guys seen Frozen and Frozen 2 in the past?
Yes.
I've never seen either of them.
I
But if
haven't
you-
seen them
if you're
either, but
gonna
it's impossible to escape their influence. So I kind of know like the basics.
I
Yeah.
just enjoyed the John Travolta.
Adele
Well,
theme.
Have you seen that, Evan?
I don't know what you're talking about, so
Okay,
probably
I
not.
have to pull this up real quick. Well, Matt,
This introduced Idina Menzel at the Oscars and butchered her name completely.
okay, let's
Did you
see.
call her Johnny Manziel instead? I get
No.
that mixed up sometimes too.
By the way, just a disclaimer here. Poor John Travolta, his wife just passed.
That sucks.
Yes, and we are not making fun of poor John Travolta because he lost the love of his life. I think they've been married for like 25 years. They have kids. Like, she was only 57. You know, he lost his wife at 66. He's 66, so like it's pretty young to lose
Also,
your.
I'm not making fun of him for the fact that the last time he's seen out in public, he was performing with Pitbull on a stage.
I love it.
Yeah, it was great. he was singing that Blake Shelton song that he does. It's called "Get Ready, Ram-a-Lamb," something like that.
Oh, so good.
Great song, and then we went into quarantine. So
There will always be a special place in my heart for the movie musical and for the songs that create their most memorable moments. Here to perform the Oscar-nominated, gorgeously empowering song, Let It Go, from the Oscar-winning animated movie Frozen, please welcome the wickedly talented, one and only Adele Dazeem.
he butchered that.
My favorite part of that is not even the name. Like the name thing is like whatever, but like the way he just, for some reason, the way he says wickedly is just like the wickedly. I'm like, what? What?
It's wicked.
I know she was in Wicked, but like he could just say the wickedly talented instead of the wickedly talented. It's so funny.
So the next question is, what musical do I watch next week? Because
Okay, I do have something for you to watch. On Disney Plus. I haven't watched it yet either. There's Into the Unknown, a look behind the scenes of the making of Frozen 2.
Wow.
Why would I want to watch a movie about a special about a sequel though?
Because I think like nothing will be as iconic as Let It Go was, but Into the Unknown is a pretty powerful song.
It is a good song, and Panic at the Disco did a really good job on their version of it, which they played at the end.
Brendan,
Matt,
yours
have you seen West Side Story?
Not fully, but I know it's all the snapping and.
Yes, watch West Side Story.
Well,
You'll very much appreciate it.
Is it on Disney Plus or is it on HBO?
I don't know, but I'm sure there is.
Also, disclaimer: I started watching a movie on HBO and realized how bad it was. Last Christmas, it was called. It came out. Yeah, last.
Why are you watching it? Max loves that movie, by the way.
What? Oh my gosh!
Max likes easy Christmas movies.
Yeah.
You don't know this?
I could not get into that movie in the first like 10 minutes of it. It was just how you say it was just I'm at a loss for
You
words.
guys need to have this debate next week on the show. This is 100% happening.
I watched 10 minutes of it. I was not impressed with it. I'm sorry.
I'm interested to hear what his counter argument is for this.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
It sounds like this was just completely terrible.
Next week is the last Bachelor goat.
What already?
The
Yeah,
last one.
Yeah, right? That's what I saw.
I didn't know it was the last one. I thought after Brad's season they would probably go into Ashley's season because Ashley.
I don't know. I think they've got to go, all quarantine at the Bachelor Mansion now for Claire's season. So
No, they're not at the Bachelor Mansion though. They're at a La Quinta in the middle of nowhere. Well,
really?
not a La Quinta hotel, but a resort called La Quinta.
Oh.
Apparently, people rent it out for Coachella.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I looked this up. Since I'm the Bachelor correspondent, I might as well tell you the details I found. It's a pretty nice place.
Why are they just quarantining in the mansion?
Because this place is
Is it far secluded?
They can probably go on like more like cool dates, like at the place. Like at the mansion, you're gonna like run out of like ideas.
Yeah. I think it'll definitely be a shorter season by a couple episodes.
Apparently, there were 32 guys that were originally announced, and some of them have already been cut, but they may or may not have just been quote unquote extras. So
they're recasting most of her season. That's what I heard.
I hope she finds love. That's all I gotta say.
I don't think she will, because it's pretty.
She's tried so many times through this franchise. I swear she's been on like 5 or 6 times.
That's how Colton was on like 3 times, right?
All right, you need to hear this, because this is not only will tell you that they are socially distancing, but also of how bougie this place is. They're at a 1,400-acre resort with 796 guest rooms, 41 pools, 53 hot spas, 23 tennis courts, 7 restaurants, and 5 golf courses.
Yeah, they're not gonna run out of like dates there.
No.
There's definitely a golf date.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Mallory, do you want to do the polls? Don't forget the ones from earlier in the week.
All right. Let me refresh what I have. Okay.
It's starting with the is it a sports documentary without an interview with Bob Costas?
Okay. Is it a sports documentary without an interview from Bob Costas? 100% no. Do your parents ever answer when you want them to? 60% no.
Who made that poll up, by the way? Because that's wow. That's a good poll.
Is Pickens a bad name for the Redskins? 67% yes.
No, we don't agree.
There we
Fish
go.
have permanent
The
brain
viewers know what's
damage. 83% yes. Is Myers Leonard the most genuine guy in the NBA? 67% yes. Should Rashawn Holmes be more disappointed in letting his teammates or his mother down? 60% mother. An entire generation of kids named Olaf? 50-50. Never happened before.
It's still early.
All right, make sure to follow us on Twitter at the letter Y and then So Serious Show. And we'll be back with another show next week. Hopefully there are no more incidents in the NBA bubble. All right, we're done. We kept it so short. Yay.
That's about an hour.